What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$2,600 a month, and I drive my high country Silverado when I'm not driving my M4.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
My car payment is $835, and I drive a 2023 Corvette.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$400, and I drive a 2015 GMC Sierra.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
I drive a Trailblazer Active, and I pay $408 a month.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
I have a 2024 Silverado, and my payments are $699 a month.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
My car payment is $0 a month, and I drive a hand-me-down '06 Mercury.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
Straight cash, homie. I drive a 2024 Duramax.
Why would you put yourself in that type of position? Why would you put yourself in a position to basically pay that much? I don't care how much money you make, but maybe those people are rich. Maybe those people got money. But I don't know. They work at a dealership. You know, if you work at a dealership, you probably knows the ins and outs about interest rate. And you know like what not to do and what to do, especially when it comes to buying a car. But there are people who work in a dealership and they're putting themselves in that position to basically having to pay a huge amount of money. $400, $500, $800,000, even $2,600. And these are people that are knowledgeable. You know, I can understand if it's a young man, a young woman who probably doesn't know the ins and outs when it comes to interest, when it comes to buying a car. But these individuals here, they are people actually who work in a dealership. And they are also, I don't know if I'll say they're naive, but they choose to put themselves in that position. Hopefully they know what they're doing. Hopefully they know what they're getting themselves into. You know, because there's a lot of people who will basically get involved in a situation that they don't know how things are. They don't know how things function. And they will put themselves in a position where sooner or later in the future, they will regret. Watching these people that work in a dealership put themselves in that position, for me, I hope they know what they're doing. But for me, in 2025, it seemed like everybody has a car payment. It seemed like everybody has a car payment. You know, when you ask them like how much do you pay, they'll tell you like $400, $500. And when you ask them like, hey, how far do you commute from your job? Oh, only like 5-10 miles from here. And they're having a car that they have to pay an enormous amount of money. And then when you crunch out a number, you can say like, wow, $400 or $500 for maybe 5-10 years. That's like a whole down payment for a house. You know, you can even invest that $400 or $500, even $2,600 in a cryptocurrency, basically, where you can invest in even stocks. You can even invest in a high yield saving account where your money will compound from years to years. However long is the debt, which is 5, 10, 20 years. You know, if you invest that same amount of money that you pay monthly in a high yield saving account, you know, that money will compound to an enormous amount of money. And you can even borrow that money to be able to use it for other things. But to having to pay monthly for that much, to me, I think is ridiculous, because I get it that a lot of people want something that's reliable. I get it that people want something that is safe, you know, because they don't want to deal with the hassle that comes with having a car break down, having to fix the car, having to go to the mechanic here and there every time. And I get it. But I think you can look for a really good, reliable car in the market that probably you don't have to pay an enormous amount of money monthly. You know, if you have like $8,000, $10,000, you can find a car that's really, really nice, all paid off. Because a car that's not paid off, a car that you have to pay monthly to, you basically have to get insurance on it, a full coverage insurance. And the insurance also is going to be high. You know, that's the case for so many people. You know, let's assume, for example, you lose your job. Let's assume that you can't make the payment for the car no more. Now you're going to have to hide from the repo man, because the repo man is coming to basically take the car. And then once you take the car, now you're going to be carless. And now your transportation to go to work is gone. Now you don't know what to do. And now you're stuck. And you put yourself in a really dire position. Now imagine if you have a car basically that is already paid off. You don't have to worry about that. All you got to worry about is having insurance. All you got to worry about is the upkeep of the car, the maintenance, and just the little small things that come with fixing a used car. And if you're pretty handy, you can probably do that yourself. Because one tools that help me out is YouTube. You know, if you have an issue with the car, especially if you know car parts, you can go to YouTube, type it down, and you will see a mechanic basically teaching you how to fix a part of a car that needs to be fixed, and you can probably follow him and you will be able to basically fix your own car. That is if you're really confident in your handy job. But any other aspect, you can probably just go to the mechanic and they'll probably help you out. You know, so there's a lot of people who basically are in that position where they have to pay a huge amount of money to basically just drive a car. A car is something that depreciates. It loses value throughout time. And the more mileage that you put in a car, the more value that it loses. And it's not something that I will suggest or I will encourage someone to basically have to pay more than $500, $600, $1,000, even $2,600 a month for a car. You know, if you're paying, for example, less than, I don't know, $200, $300, that's doable. But $500 and more, oh, for me, that's a no-no. And even if you have the money, even if I have the money, I will not put myself in that position. Because I understand that, you know, I can be driving a car that I'm paying $800 a month and somebody just hit me from the back. Or I get in an accident, or I run over a curve and my tires probably is slanted and it won't move. Now I'm stuck in a position where I have to call the insurance. And calling the insurance in a car that's already financed, it will make your insurance payment even go up. And the value of the car automatically decrease. And once you try to trade in that car, they will try to lowball you to the amount that might even piss you off. So for me, a car payment, I think you got to be knowledgeable. You got to be smart about it. And you can't just, you know, go along or just try to follow other people because a lot of people are doing it. I think you got to have your own due diligence to actually do your research. Look at the value of the car, for example, and you can go to Carfax, you can go to Kelly Blue Book, and those type of tools, you know, to find out the amount that I'm paying or the amount that I'm trying to get from this car. Is this the real amount, or am I just being, you know, used or being scammed by this dealers and things like that? So there's a lot of things that you got to look into, especially when you're trying to get a car or trying to be in a car payment. But me currently right now, I don't have a car payment. And it's a great feeling because the only thing that I got to worry about is putting gas in my car and paying for my car insurance, which I paid less than $100.
Yes, sir. Miss Tendra came out here and got this 2021 Nissan Rogue. Miss Tendra, how much did you put down? All right. How much was your monthly payment? $490. All right. How long are you financing for? All right. Only 324. Congratulations. Yeah.
324 months. There are 12 months in a year. Do you know how long that is? That's 27 years. $490 a month for 324 months is $158,000.
As you can see, this lady is breaking it down. So this lady basically have to pay this car for 27 years. And I looked up a 2021 Nissan Rogue on Carfax, and it's valued around $22,000 to $25,000. So she will have to pay $158,000 for this car for 27 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And it shows that, you know, I don't think she is really knowledgeable when it comes to finance or interest rates. She put zero down, but but she have to pay this much monthly. You know, she can use that money to invest in her children. She can use that money to invest to open a different account. She can use that money to be able to basically, you know, invest in so many things. But to just invest in a car for 27 years. And let's assume, for example, she get in an accident. Let's assume, for example, if she lose her job, now she's gonna be stuck. Now she's gonna be in a position where she have to make a dire decision. And I'm pretty sure, you know, she's gonna be in a position where a lot of people don't want to be in. And she's gonna have to worry about the repo man coming to take her car. You know, it's such a bad thing in my opinion. It's good dad and you got bad dad. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comment.